Most dragon priests have a tomb. Most masks have a face. Most legends leave behind something. A name, a ruin, a whisper in the dark. But not Konahrik. Konahrik has none of these. No tomb, no dragon priest guarding it, no mention in any scroll, tablet, or tale. Only a mask, gold, ancient, and terrifying, hidden behind a wooden relic and a ritual few ever complete. But who is it? What is it? And why does it feel like it's waiting? Most Dragon Priest masks in Skyrim can be placed. The Mask of Miraak comes from Labyrinthian. Miraak lies in Valthum. Even Miraak has his story. But Konahrik, it has no place, no bearer, no time. It's as if it was made outside the known story, or meant for someone who was never born, or maybe for someone yet to come. Konahrik translates to Warlord in the dragon tongue. But who was the Warlord? Was there ever one at all? Or is the name the mask, and the mask the only thing that ever existed? We don't know for sure. There are only theories. Some say Konahrik was a title, not a name. Others think it was meant for a crisis that never came, or that it belongs to you, the last Dragonborn, in a perfect loop of fate. This is a mystery built not from presence, but from absence. Not from what we know, but what we don't. So let's descend into the forgotten echoes of the dragon cult and ask the question the scrolls never answer. Who or what was Konahrik? To understand why Konahrik is so strange, we need to go back, not just through ruins and tombs, but through time. Long before the Empire, before Talos, even before Ysgramor's return, the land was ruled by gods. Dragons. Not just powerful beasts, actual deities, and like all gods, they needed priests. The dragon priests were mortal rulers, chosen by the dragons to spread their word and maintain their power. They were not kings, but something worse. Middlemen between the divine and the doomed. Each presided over a region. Each wielded immense magical power. And some were granted a terrible gift, unnatural life bound to the will of their dragon overlords. They were more than conquerors, they were symbols, and their masks were the ultimate symbol of that power. Each mask was unique, crafted with purpose, imbued with magic, and meant to reflect the strength of its bearer. Croesus, the bringer of sorrow. Miraak, the wielder of great arcane force. Ragot, the raging warlord. These weren't just names, they were archetypes, threats. The masks were worn in life and entombed in death, like crowns buried with forgotten kings. Most of them, anyway. In the ruins of Labyrinthian, we find a secret chamber, scattered with busts, empty sockets, and a single ancient mask. The wooden mask. It has no known owner, no known origin, just like Konahrik. But it hums faintly with an unfamiliar energy. And if we put it on, something impossible happens. We go back in time, back to when the chamber was whole and the altar still active. Only after gathering every known dragon priest mask can the ritual be completed. The final mask appears not in a tomb or on a corpse, but as if summoned from memory. Konahrik. Gold, crown-like, waiting in the center for no one and for everyone. It's the last mask we find, but it may be the first that was made. So why is it hidden away? What was it meant to do? And more importantly, who is it meant for? Let's explore the possibilities. What do you leave behind when your empire is dying? A symbol, a key, or maybe a crown? One theory suggests Konahrik was never a person at all, but a title. After all, dragon priest masks were more than magical items. They were emblems of authority. Each one embodied the identity and purpose of its bearer. Croesus, sorrow. Miraak, glorious, Nakreen, vengeance. But Konahrik, it simply means warlord, so it's not a name, it's a role. As the dragon cult began to collapse, a final mask may have been forged, not for anyone living at the time, but for someone yet to come. A crown held in reserve, a last resort, meant to be claimed only if the old power was ever needed again. And this fits right into Elder Scrolls lore. The series often treats identity as flexible, even recursive. You don't need to be born into a role. Sometimes you just need to step into it. And in that light, Konahrik isn't a person, it's a placeholder, a title waiting for someone worthy, maybe even you, the Dragonborn. And if that's the case, then the secrecy makes sense. The ritual isn't a barrier, it's the test. Not just anyone is supposed to find the mask, only someone who can uncover its history, collect every other piece, and unlock a forgotten moment in time. In that sense, the difficulty is the qualification. But what if Konahrik wasn't just a title? What if it once belonged to someone powerful and already known? We all know Miraak. He's the first Dragonborn. But before that, he was a dragon priest, a high servant of the dragons, and a ruler beneath their wings. Which raises a curious question. Did Miraak wear Konahrik? Nearly all dragon priests wear masks, each one a relic of their identity, a badge of power, a symbol of their role in the cult. Miraak wears one too, but his is different. It's smooth, organic, almost alive. It looks less like it was forged and more like it grew. What's more is that it doesn't resemble any other dragon priest mask, and that's probably not an accident, because Miraak didn't fall into obscurity. He was taken by Hermaeus Mora, the Daedric prince of forbidden knowledge, which leads to a theory. What if Miraak once wore a traditional mask? What if that mask was Konahrik? The name fits, and Miraak lived up to the title. He betrayed the dragons, led a cult, and shattered the chains of their rule. So if anyone earned the title of Warlord during the Dragon Cult era, it was him. And if Konahrik was forged before Miraak's rebellion, he could have been its first and only bearer. That would explain a few things: why Konahrik has no tomb, why no dragon priest is tied to it, and why it stands apart from the rest. Because its original owner didn't die in Skyrim, he left. He escaped into Apocrypha, into the hands of Hermaeus Mora. And the mask, his original mask, he left it behind, abandoned and forgotten. But Miraak wasn't the only one who shaped this story. There was another figure just as powerful. Vahlok the Jailer is the one who stopped Miraak, the one who fought the first Dragonborn to a standstill. And in the oral traditions of Solstheim, he isn't just a warrior, he's something bigger, a safeguard, a final barrier, a dragon priest who stayed loyal when others turned. And like the rest, he now lies entombed, undead, bound to a sarcophagus, still extremely dangerous. But there's something missing from this priest. Vahlok has no mask, not in lore, not in game, nowhere. In fact, he is the only dragon priest without one. And that opens the door to a new theory. What if Vahlok was Konahrik? Not figuratively, but literally. What if the final mask, the crown of the dragon cult, was his? The name still fits, Warlord, and Vahlok was exactly that. He led the charge against Miraak, and he didn't just fight, he won. So if any priest earned the dragon's trust, it was most certainly him. So where's his mask? Maybe it was removed after his death to preserve it, or hidden before he was buried to protect it, or sealed away, not as a weapon, but as a monument. In this theory, Konahrik isn't just a tool, it's an honor, a war mask forged not for power, but for loyalty, a symbol of ultimate obedience, the highest distinction the dragon cult could bestow, worn by the one who held the line. But what if it wasn't a reward? What if Konahrik wasn't made to honor loyalty, but to respond to its collapse? Not a crown, a failsafe. Because Konahrik only appears under one very specific condition. Every mask must be collected, every tomb must be disturbed, every priest must be defeated. Only then does the ritual work. Only then does Konahrik awaken. That's not a coincidence. That's a trigger, like a tripwire buried in time, a last contingency hidden in the dragon cult's remains. If the cult falls, if someone, someday, gathers all the pieces, then Konahrik returns, not to reward, but to react, to respond to the death of the system that created it. That would explain its power, because it doesn't just protect, it heals, it strikes, it fights back, and sometimes it does something no other mask can. It summons a spectral dragon priest, silent, nameless, without history, just a ghost fighting by your side. But who is it? A guardian? A remnant of the mask's maker? Or is this Konahrik itself, bound to the mask, waiting for the moment the cult's fall is complete, waiting to return? But what if we're looking at this all wrong? What if Konahrik doesn't come from the past, but from the future? What if the mask was never lost because it was never made? What if we, the last Dragonborn, are the reason it exists at all? This theory suggests something strange, not just mythic, not just magical, but impossible, unless we're living in a world where time bends for prophecy, which in Skyrim we are, because time doesn't move in lines, it moves in loops. Konahrik waits in the sealed-off ruins of Bromjunar Sanctuary, behind 8 empty busts and 1 wooden mask, a mask that, when worn, pulls us through time. We vanish from the present day and reappear in an untouched version of the sanctuary, a shrine preserved in the Merethic era, when the dragon cult still ruled Skyrim. There we place the 8 dragon priest masks on their altars, and Konahrik appears, golden, crown-like, complete. But now the mask exists in our timeline only because we went back and got it, which means it has no origin, no creator, no first forge. It's just there because it always was. This is called a bootstrap paradox, a loop of self-creation, an object without a beginning. But the theory doesn't end there, because Konahrik is different from every other mask. When we're near death, it heals us, and sometimes it summons help. But why? Well, some players believe that spirit is you, the last Dragonborn. Not as you are now, but as you will be, bound to the mask, echoing backward in time to save yourself. A loop within a loop, like a mirror reflecting itself into eternity. If that's true, then the cycle goes something like this. You gather the masks, unlock Konahrik, live, fight, fall, and your spirit becomes part of the mask, waiting for the next version of you to return, to repeat, to restart the loop. No origin, no ending, just recursion, just the echo. This theory might sound extreme, but in the Elder Scrolls, this kind of thing happens all the time. The Warp in the West rewrote history in a single night. The Elder Scrolls themselves don't just predict the future, they enforce it. And Akatosh, the god of time, he doesn't think in straight lines. So a mask with no beginning, a relic that exists only because the player causes it to. In the Elder Scrolls universe, that's not an outlier. That might be exactly the point.